Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with expansions to Robo Rally. I've been building them up over the last month to finally talk about them. We'll start out with Thrills and Spills. Each of these packs adds 3 map boards and 5 new cards, so try to keep your card sleeves consistent. So here are the new map boards. Locked, the O-Ring, Fireball Factory, Black Gold, Gauntlet of Fire, and Portal Palace. Alright, so features you might have noticed. Portals. Basically, these various symbols, colors. A robot that enters a portal space is immediately moved to the matching portal, as long as it's unoccupied. So we go 1. So they start here, they move 1, they're immediately there. And if they had any more movement, they go. Rotating does not count as moving in. Um, if there is no robot there, or if there's a robot occupying the space, they'll just keep going. Also on this board are oil slicks. A robot that starts in an oil slick has 1 less movement. They have a hard time getting going. Robots that end their movement in oil will keep on sliding. If there is already a robot in oil and they move in, they will slide together until someone has to stop. And finally, we got flamers. Um, they're active at certain points, like register 1 and 5 for this one, or 1 and 2 for this one. Robots do not block flamers from reaching any of the spaces down the line. And it takes 1 damage entering, passing through, or is pushed through, into or through an active space. So it's register 1, the robot gets pushed through, they're taking the damage. It's it's pretty brutal. But thankfully they have short range. Except for, the Fireball Factory where they reach almost halfway across the board. New upgrades, the temporary phasing. Play after revealing a programming card. Um, during this register, you can pass through a wall, which is useful in like all the expansions. Memory transfer is permanent. At the end of each round, transfer a damage card in your hand to an adjacent robot's damage pile or discard pile. So you have to be next to a robot and have the damage card to pass. The temporary spam powered rocket. Movement upgrade, put a number of spam cards from your discard pile into the damage discard pile. If for each one discard, move one space. I won't see it coming. Repulsion field. Pay X energy when a robot would push them away instead by that much. And finally, splash damage. Permanent upgrade. X equals the number of foes in the game. Max 4. When your robot's main laser damages a target robot, you can also deal 1 damage. Each robot adjacent. Multi-target elimination. So yeah, it's kind of a pretty brutal expansion because between the portals providing some sudden movement or potential sabotage of movement, fire just being damaged all the time, but only at certain times, and the oil slick's just messing with movement. It's it it pretty much lives up to that. Thrills and spills name. Next up, we got Chaos and Carnage. So for the new boards, we've got Labyrinth, Gearbox, Pushy, Laser Maze. Yes, that's well, the little red lines are all lasers. Stop and Go, and has Okay, so what got added? We've got these little rings are teleporters. So during a program card activation, the robot's on a teleporter when they reveal a move card. The robot disappears and then reappears further away, which was ignoring everything that's in the way. Um, if there's someone in the space they would have occupied, then they don't get to move at all. Or then they do their move normally, which on this map is absolute death. um, Rules add 2 forward movement to the movement granted by the card, and ignore all other text. Okay. So if the card was all, so let's say it was a move 1, so you'll go ahead 3 spaces. If it was a move back, you would instead teleport forward 2. All other cards are unaffected. Okay. Other elements. This is one of the 2 expansions to have the Crushers. There will be a number, there'll be a little smashy ring. Um, After gears, but before lasers fire, and only on these registers, a robot on the Crusher space is destroyed. You have to reboot as demonstrated in the rulebook. And then finally, we have where these little stars are randomizers. Those ones are part conveyor belt. There's other ones here on Gearbox. If you would reveal a programming card, um, discard all the cards in the current register and replace them with the top card of your programming deck. Replaced spam and haywire cards go to the damage discard pile. So you can still get rid of those, which makes a difference. Yeah, the addition of crushers is pretty brutal. Teleporters add some interesting chaos into the mix as well. The randomizers are just nuts. Definitely lives up to Chaos and Carnage, where it's that. Oh yeah, let's cover the upgrade cards too while we're here. Let's get those over. Alright. We got indirect fire. Instead of firing your robot's main laser, you can pay 1 energy to fire indirect. You do hit any robot within 3 orthogonal spaces of your robot. So your robot is here 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Pretty powerful. Stun, temporary. Instead of firing your robot's main laser, target discards all face down cards in their next register. Cannot be used during register 5. You can shut someone down for a moment. Leeching, permanent. When you fire your robot's main laser, steal 1 energy from the target if they have 3 or more. If they have 0 energy, deal 1 additional damage. That's mean. Mirror, permanent upgrade. The first time your robot takes damage from another robot each round, that robot also takes the same amount of damage. And finally, controlled chaos. When you draw haywire damage, you may place it face down under any card in your registers, where there's not already a face down haywire card. Guess that's one way to manage them. Okay. Third major board expansion, Wet and Wild. New map boards include there we go, Colosseum, which they misspelled Colosseum, and that slightly bothers me. Transition, lots of conveyor belt fun. Flood Zone, Trench Run, multi-level madness. Water Park, and Circuit Trap. It's it's almost that one level from Chip's Challenge. You know. This one adds more crushers as well. But new elements include water. Um, Robot leaving the water space during its card activation loses 1 space of movement before movement. Once per move card. Has no effect on movement outside of your activation. Switches are unaffected. Right. Um, These little circles are drains. They are pits, uh, no matter what. There are currents, which we'll see with the arrows in the water. Um, they activate after green conveyor belts. So it's more things to move robots around. All right. We now have ledges. There's the bright side and then the dark side. The bright side is up higher. Um, if a robot crosses over a ledge from the upper to the lower, draw 2 damage, or 1 damage if falling into water. Um, you cannot go from lower to upper unless you're using a ramp. To move up a ramp, you're going to need at least 2 movement. Um, Otherwise, the robot will slide back down. If a robot got pushed to the ramp will then back them back up. And then a robot moving down a ramp ignores the ramp. No damage taken, a safe way down. And of course, more crushers. I must really like crushing things for robots. I mean, maybe they saw the brave little toaster one too many times. Who knows? Anyway, upgrade cards. Permanent bunny hop. When your robot would push another robot during your card activation, you may hop over it to the next adjacent empty space if possible instead. Sure. Calculated odds, a 5 cost permanent upgrade. Each time you draw damage, draw 2 damage at the same time, keep one and discard the other. It's a way to kind of manage that problem. These are all permanent upgrades for the set. Diffuser. After you have drawn damage during register, for each additional damage you would draw for the rest of that register, gain 1 energy instead. Edge guard. Your robot cannot move or be pushed off the edge of the board if this would occur. Your movement stops at the space to the edge. Little safety system. It's always appreciated. Turbo. When you resolve a move card, you may pay 1 energy to move 1 additional space in the same direction. Alright. So lots more map boards, lots more upgrades so far. Now, we'll cover one last thing. I featured this during the Slackathon, but let's be real, who actually watched the Slackathon? Yeah. Anyway, Robo Rally Master Builder. It provides some ideas for things you could do, like make maps out of nothing but these boards. The smaller docking bay. You could take an already existing map board and uh, overlap it. Yeah, lots of boards to work with. A couple of these are blank. So you've got some ideas to work with you got some space to work with for figuring out ideas with all these little extra bits. Yeah, the alignment is kind of off on one side over the other, but it's not debilitating. Anyway, upgrade cards for Master Builder include Moonwalk, temporary upgrade. Conveyor belts and currents move your robot in the opposite direction this round. Use only if this would not stop push another robot. So that tells you immediately that this was made after Wet and Wild because he's using currents. Anchor, permanent. Spend one energy when a robot would be pushed in order to be not pushed. Top heavy. If your robot is about to be moved by a conveyor belt, it may ignore all conveyor belts that's registered and move one space to the left or right without changing facing. Interesting. Bit pricey. So, overclocked. Temporary upgrade. Uh, gain one spam and put it into your discard pile. Ignore your programming cards this register. Instead, resolve one of your previous register's programming cards. So, a little bit of damage, but you get to do something you did previously that you really need to do again. Via a positron. Play after revealing a non-haywire programming card. Do the opposite of what your programming card says. So U-turn is no turn, move back is move one. Move left when you move right and all that. Okay. So what are my thoughts on all these expansions? More is always appreciated, you know. But then comes in the, are we actually going to get around to using it? That's something I want to work on is kind of maybe build like a monthly group of let's do something with Robo Rally using these expansion items. Because one of the things that always gets to me is I buy expansion for a game, I have options with this game, and we end up doing the default stuff because everybody's learning it for the first time or have to relearn it. That's one of the issues I have with Heart of Craft. So we end up doing the default scenarios over and over again. But I'm I'm always happy to pick up more stuff for this game. Um, I have yet to see any other announcements for other expansions anytime soon. What I would love to see is Master Builder 2, where they incorporate all the crazy crap that they've featured between, Wet and Wild, Chaos and Carnage, Thrills and Spills. Just give me more crazy stuff to work with, like the ledges and the water and the fireballs and oil slicks and everything to just expand on the experience of the game. But anyway, this has been Pillarless Tabletop Games for the Robo Rally expansions. If you like Robo Rally, check them out. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.